Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. First and foremost, I would like to convey thanks to the organizer for giving this opportunity to present my concept paper at our conference today. I hope that with this presentation we can cultivate new knowledge and discuss some feedback to improve further this study. Before we proceed, allow me to introduce our research team. I am Shamal Shamsuddin, with another two distinguished experts, Professor Rahim Zumra and Dr. Nick Suhaida. We are from the Faculty of Leadership and Management, at University Science Islam Malaysia. The concept paper that I will present today is entitled Linking Ethical Leadership and Islamic Work Ethic on Learning Organization in Public Higher Education Institution, the Moderation Role of Psychological Safety Model. This study presents a framework that examines the concept of learning organization and how ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics link to the concept via moderation of psychological safety. We expect that the outcome of this study will help to develop the concept of learning organization in our public higher education institutions by implementing both predictors and interventions. The outlines of the presentation are shown in this slide. As we all know, the public higher education sector plays a vital role in national development, serving as a key source of human capital and economic growth. However, increased pressures such as the growth of student enrollment, global recognition, and ethical concerns pose challenges to the development of public higher education institutions. To address these challenges, public higher education must adopt sustainable improvement strategies. The concept of learning organizations offers a promising framework for addressing contemporary challenges in organization development. Despite 2 decades of learning organization model development, identifying relevant variables remains a challenge. This study aims to address this gap by examining the role of ethical leadership, Islamic work ethics, and psychological safety and their impacts towards the development of learning organizations. The study emphasizes the need for research aligned with current challenges faced by public education institutions, particularly in adapting to global changes and meeting national education strategies. Given the pressure and challenges confronting higher education institutions worldwide, there's an urgent call for innovative human capital to facilitate transformation. Aligning with the concept of lifelong learning and the learning organization framework, the research aims to develop an implementation framework tailored to Malaysia's higher education landscape. This framework is expected to enhance transformation efforts, provide value-added outcomes to public higher education, foster dynamic human resource development, and strategically position public higher education institutions in a competitive higher education environment. In this study, we will address 4 primary objectives. Foremost, we aim to assess how ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics impact the development of learning organizations. Subsequently, we aim to investigate the moderating role of psychological safety in both relationships. Next, we will move on to the literature review. Previous studies have given empirical proof that the variables potentially correlated or impacted each other. Thus, I conclude that there is evidence, firstly, the significant and direct relation between ethical leadership and learning organization. The higher ethical leadership practices may contribute to the success of learning organizations because they promote knowledge sharing and enhance organizational learning. Additionally, scholars also support that leaders who lacking in moral and ethical values impede the process of organizational learning. There is also evidence on the effect of Islamic work ethics on learning organization as mentioned in the related citation. Hong, 2020, supports that ethical culture can be a sustainable strategy for creating a learning organization. There is also evidence that most organizations have learning disability due to the lack of necessary ethical practices in the organization. There is also growing research that has verified the role of psychological safety as a moderator. Past studies show that this variable can lessen negative correlation and strengthen positive relations when people feel high in psychological safety. Based on the past literature, we identify 4 main gaps to address in this study. The concept of learning organization in higher education, particularly in Malaysia, is still in its early stage and requires further research, as previous studies predominantly focused on business rather than academia, and received limited attention in Malaysia compared to Western countries. Understanding learning organization within the context of higher education institutions is crucial for its relevance and application locally. Ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics have been identified as a potential enabler of learning organization, thus its impact requiring deeper investigation. Psychological safety has proven can shape employees' attitudes towards learning and development. However, empirical evidence on the moderating effect of psychological safety on learning organizations yet to be tested, thus highlighting the need for further study. Based upon the observation and synthesis of the literature review, the research framework of the study is proposed as shown in the slide. Therefore, four main hypotheses are derived. The first and second hypothesis claims both ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics have a positive and direct impact on learning organization. Subsequent hypothesis suggests that psychological safety moderates the impact between both ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics towards learning organization. The study will employ a quantitative research design leveraging the large sample sizes and requirement of statistical analysis. By using a cross-sectional technique, the study will evaluate population characteristics without tracking individuals over time. The model fit will be verified and the hypotheses will be tested. Data will be collected through a questionnaire adapted from previous studies. Learning organization will be the dependent variable, while ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics as independent variable. Psychological safety will act as moderator for both relationship. The study will focus on administrative staff, non-academic, in two public comprehensive higher education categories due to their size and work culture. The respondents will be selected using stratified random sampling across 8 campuses in the Klang Valley, ensuring the sample's representativeness of the population. Why this study is considered significant? First and foremost, this topic of research provides an extension to the body of knowledge generally in human resource development and specifically in the field of learning organization. It provides empirical evidence on the impact of each variable in developing learning organization in the public higher education institution context. In terms of organizational interest, the study will examine impactful factors that can be considered by the leaders, administrators, and managers in their effort to develop learning organization. In a nutshell, this study provides important practical implications for organizations to cultivate learning organization culture in the public higher education context. In conclusion, through this study, we hope that it will offer a new dimension that supports the implementation of learning organization in public higher education, especially when the impact of ethical leadership, Islamic work ethics, and psychological safety are empirically tested. We also expect by the proven hypothesis, the human resource approach will expand in its ability to use learning organization to address challenges in public higher learning, especially in organization development. Finally, I like to finish my presentation today with some wisdom from Josh Kaufman. The major barrier to learning is not intellectual, it is psychological and emotional. On that note, thank you very much for your great attention. I will be happy to receive your questions and feedback.